Not quite. Okay. So if you wouldn't mind bearing with us just for a couple of minutes. Is that it?
It's good to see so many folks on the board.
Here we go. So let's start that again. Good evening, everyone. I love hearing a response. For months, I would say, good evening, everyone, and it would just be silence, just us in here. So it's great to see you all here in the room with us tonight. And thank you to everyone who's joined us online. I would like to welcome you all to the March 14th public board meeting of the Baltimore City Board of School Commissioners. Online, if you have not done so, please mute your phone. Anyone who does not mute their phone may be muted by the call moderator or removed from the call. Additionally, if you are not a board member or the CEO and her staff, please turn your video off. Before we begin tonight's board meeting, I would like to briefly acknowledge that our newest board member, Commissioner Kalila Slater Harrington, will not be voting on tonight's agenda items. The commissioner was recently sworn in, and by recently, I mean last evening, and she was unable to thoroughly review all of the necessary information required to vote effectively. Instead, the commissioner will observe tonight's proceedings and familiarize herself with the materials presented for future use. I will speak more on Commissioner Slater Harrington after the official opening of the meeting. I'm going to now read roll call of the board to identify who is on the call. Please identify yourself first before speaking for the record. I will go through this same roll call for each vote. Commissioner McFadden.
McFadden is present.
Commissioner Brooks.
Commissioner Brooks is present.
Commissioner Coy.
Present.
Commissioner Esposito.
Present.
Commissioner Griffin.
I'm here.
Commissioner Katz-Zogby.
Present.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay.
Present.
Commissioner Reed. Commissioner Roberts.
Here.
Commissioner Sally.
Present.
And I am here. That makes us 10 present with 1 absent. Is there a motion to reopen tonight's meeting?
So moved, McFadden.
Thank you, Commissioner McFadden. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Kenyatta Bay. All in favor, Commissioner McFadden?
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks?
Yes.
Commissioner Coy?
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito?
Yes.
Commissioner Griffin?
Yes.
Commissioner Katz-Zogby?
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay?
Yes.
Commissioner Reed? Commissioner Roberts?
Yes.
Commissioner Sally?
Yes.
And I am in favor. That motion passes with 10 in favor and 1 absent. Now we will do our presentation of colors by the JROTC at Forest Park High School. Let us all stand.
Board members, Cadet Command Sergeant Major Robichaud of Forest Park High School, JROTC, permission to post the colors.
Permission granted.
Thank you, board members. Order, arms. Colors reverse, march. Color, hold. Post, colors.
You may be seated. I want to thank Lieutenant Colonel Brianna Patrick, Commander, Major Antoine Nicholson, Captain Michael Salazar, Captain Myron Fields, and Command Sergeant Major Jordan Robineau. Hope I pronounced that right. I want to turn it over now to Commissioner Griffin, who will read our moment of silence.
Good evening, everyone. We would like to take the time to recognize the passing of City School students and employees. They will be remembered fondly by the Greater City Schools community. Tonight, we send our deepest condolences to their families and friends. Mason Kelly was a 12th grader at Achievement Academy who was slated to graduate this June. Mason had gained focus and was working hard in his courses to make it to graduation. He was funny, had an excellent smile, and was adored by our staff and loved by so many of our students. We really miss having him at Achievement Academy. Camille Warren attended Marianne Winterling Elementary School as a kindergartner. Through the school year, Camille's teachers and peers had the pleasure of watching her grow into a dedicated student and loving person. Camille came to school each day with the brightest smile and made heart signals as she passed through the hallway. She truly spread love everywhere she went. Camille's enthusiasm for learning was infectious. She would frequently stop herself during assignments to tell her teachers and peers how much she loved school. She will be so missed. Her kind heart, forever optimistic attitude, and smile will never be forgotten. Miss Cordelia Commander. Miss Cordelia Commander started her career with City Schools on September 1st, 2018, where she served the staff and students for 4 years and 5 months as a food service worker at Joseph C. Briscoe Academy and Booker T. Washington Middle School. Ms. Commander unfortunately departed on February 17, 2023, and will be missed by her family, friends, and city schools. Mr. Calvin Bethia started his career with City Schools on February 3, 2003, where he served the staff and students for 20 years as a teacher, elementary at Diggs Johnson Middle, Walter P. Carter Elementary Middle. He also served as a secondary teacher at Edmondson Westside High School, and lastly, at Renaissance Academy High. Mr. Bethia unfortunately departed on February 21st, 2023, and will be missed by his family, friends, and city schools. Please join me in a moment of silence and recognition of the passing of these people. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Griffin. Is there a motion to approve the prior open session minutes?
So moved. Commissioner Kenyatta Bay.
Thank you, Commissioner Kenyatta Bay. Is there a second?
Second, Roberts.
Thank you, Commissioner Roberts. All in favor? Commissioner McFadden?
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks?
Yes.
Commissioner Coy?
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito?
Yes.
Commissioner Griffin?
Yes.
Commissioner Katz-Zogby?
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay?
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts?
Yes.
Commissioner Sally?
Yes.
And I am in favor. That motion passes with 10 in favor and 1 absent. Is there a motion to approve the closed session summaries?
So moved, Roberts.
Thank you, Commissioner Roberts. Is there a second?
Second, Sally.
Second, Griffin.
Thank you, Commissioner Sally. All in favor? Commissioner McFadden?
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks?
Yes.
Commissioner Coy,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Griffin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Sally.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Sally, I can barely hear you. Was that a yes?
That was a yes. Affirmative, yes.
I can't hardly hear him. Okay, and I am in favor. That motion passes with 9 in favor and 1 absent. So tonight's meeting is the first public board meeting for Commissioner Kalila Slater Harrington, the newest member of Baltimore City Board of School Commissioners. Commissioner Slater Harrington was appointed to the board by Mayor Brandon Scott on March 13th. She has over 20 years of experience in education and the nonprofit sector. My colleagues and I are excited about this addition to the school board and look forward to working with her. I would like to give the commissioners an opportunity to share their thoughts before we turn it over to Commissioner Slater Harrington. Commissioner Coy?
Yes, I just wanted to say welcome to the school board. I did have the opportunity to meet you at City Hall with your family, and just want to say it is an honor to serve alongside you here, and you have a beautiful family that is also serving, albeit in your absence. They're supporting you in this role. And just, as you're coming onto the board and into this role, really just wanting to ground each of us. And I think it's a wonderful day with how many young people are in the room to be grounded in the work and the successes of the students of Baltimore City. And so excited for what you will bring to that, knowing that you also have 2 of your own children in city schools. And I think that's wonderful. I had the chance to listen to one of them talk about her History Day submission and what that was on and what she was working on and some of those things. So just excited for what you are bringing to the school board, and welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner Coy. Commissioner McFadden?
Again, it was a pleasure meeting you last night at the swearing in, and also your beautiful family, as Commissioner Coy mentioned. You have a very beautiful family, and I loved Alex and Alex's energy last night. And as the mayor says to commissioners that are coming in, I remember Commissioner Esposito as well, whose son was present, and kind of just took over the mayor's office. And the mayor welcomes that. It's nice to have a parent to join us, another parent to join the board, because the voices of our parents are extremely critical to the work that we do. And so just thank you for your service, for being willing to serve. And we look forward to working with you together as a team to move the students of our city forward, but also our communities forward. I also appreciate how you, and I'm sure you'll mention it, the focus that you really have to ensure that all of our students, but particularly those who receive special education services, are acknowledged, are served adequately, are at the table just like everyone else. So I appreciate you bringing that addition, as we also have other parents that have that same advocacy spirit and voice. It's nice to have another one to sit at this table with us as well. So welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner McFadden. And I would also like to personally welcome you. You have such a beautiful spirit, and I just have always felt that. And so I am looking forward to serving with you in this capacity. I know you're here for the right reasons. And so it makes serving with you that much easier, because I know your heart is in the right place. So welcome aboard. And I want to turn it over to you for remarks.
Sure, thank you. I will keep it brief. I just want to acknowledge all of the board members and the staff here, and just thank you for the incredibly warm welcome. I have to live up to everything that you all have said, and I'm ready, to get to work. I consider this role as commissioner to be an honor and one that I take very seriously because I care so deeply. I come from a family that grounded me in social justice and social activism. So this is the next step in that journey. And so I'm grateful to be able to serve. I'm humbled by the opportunity, and I'm energized by the collective energy that we have here. And I know that we're going to make a difference on behalf of children and families together. So thank you, and thank you all, families and young people in the audience, for the accountability. You're seeing your faces here and knowing you're here both to support and hold us all accountable to get the work done on behalf of children and families. I appreciate it and I welcome it.
Oh, and I
So my son Alexander is 8. He is an exceptional student in Baltimore City Public Schools. He has autism, but he's absolutely amazing, and he owns every space he walks into. Is never a question. Alex is living his best life, to include no shoes on in City Hall last night. My daughter Addison is at Mount Washington School in the 7th grade. She's just an amazing person, exceptional in her own right, and I strive to be as cool as her. She'll probably appreciate me saying that. So thank you for acknowledging. And my wonderful husband, Pickett, who is my rock. So thank you for acknowledging my family.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So last week, students from Green Street Academy and Cross Country Elementary Middle School participated in a chess tournament at City Hall. They battled fierce competitors, including Wu-Tang Clan member GZA. In fact, one of our students defeated GZA. Thank you very much. I did it right? I didn't say GZA. You did. Okay. Thank you, Mayor Scott and GZA, for orchestrating this event. This once-in-a-lifetime opportunity will further prepare our students for the Chess Nationals coming up at the end of March. Students were not only ones taking part in amazing opportunities. City Schools pre-K teacher and 22-23 Maryland Teacher of the Year, Beryl Dudney, was honored at the Maryland General Assembly alongside previous Teacher of the Year winners. My colleagues and I are so proud of Beryl. The energy, love, and knowledge she pours into her students is admirable. We are excited to see where her passion for education will take her next. Tonight, I am excited to announce that we are honoring this month's Baltimore City Public Schools Scholar Superstars. During the first public board meeting of each month, the board will honor 2 students from various grade levels for their excellence and exceptional contributions in a segment called Scholar Superstar. Last month, we honored 2 extraordinary students, Josiah David and Kira Cairns. This time, we have 2 new awardees from 2 different city schools. Our first winner is Kadar Graham.
Oh, yeah.
Give it up for Kadar. Yes. Kadar is a 5th grader at Govans Elementary School in East Baltimore. Kadar is superstar inside and outside of the classroom. His display of leadership, responsibility, and teamwork does not go unnoticed by his teachers and peers. Kadar is an amazing helper and critical thinker. Not only does he serve as the student representative on the Govans Steering Committee team, but Kadar has received the Most Improved Award for his chess playing abilities and has even become a master junior chef.
Wow.
It is now my pleasure. It is now my absolute pleasure to invite Kadar's family, and our Gobens Elementary School staff to join me in acceptance of the Scholar Superstar Award. Kadar, if you like, you may say a few words. So could you guys join me at the table? Woo! Andre, can you help them get situated? Thank you.
Kadar, whenever you're ready, just press the button so it turns green, and let's hear your powerful voice tonight.
Hello. Thank you.
Nervous?
Yes.
The nerves mean that you're human. That's all that means, right? So talk to us. Talk to us about how you're leading in your school. We just heard that you're on the steering committee. What's that like? And what is it like to also be two other things, a chess champion and a chef, right? A lot of young people your age aren't doing anything but putting things in microwaves, right? So talk to us a little bit about what you're doing. You're doing some really amazing things.
And what's your favorite thing to cook? We need to know that.
My favorite thing to cook is probably any type of pasta. I also I really like chess because it really challenges you to focus and it helps you in school.
How would you say chess helps you in school?
It helps you to focus on the small details, especially in reading, because it helps you focus on the actual small details in the story.
That's incredible. And can you also talk to us a little bit about what you do on that steering committee at your school?
Oh, I don't.
It's being in Dragons? Yeah, how do you feel about being in Dragons After School program? Giving your opinion.
I really like the after school program.
Why?
I like that we learn different things like 3D printing, and we also did projects on prosthetic devices for different animals, like an eagle's beak and an elephant's foot, which was really fun. We're 3D printing a bunch of stuff, and I recently 3D printed a keychain and I don't know the exact name. It was like something that will make cool designs, and you put a pencil in it and you spin it around and it makes a really cool design.
That sounds really cool. So before I ask your parents, right? Your parents, correct? Yes. I just want to know, what do you want to do when you finish school? Like, what's your goal for career? How do you want to change the world?
I want to be a graphic designer.
That's incredible. So you've got a good village, parents. If you want to have an opportunity to chat, we'd love to hear from you.
Push the button.
Just come down and get in the lobby, and then I'll.
I just want to say thank you for this nomination,
and for recognizing not only my son, but students throughout Baltimore City, because this is something that really will follow them and help them grow into productive citizens. Just this one type of event. In terms of Kadar, Kurt and I, we really wrap our hands around him and giving him the guidance, the love, structure, and discipline so he can be a productive citizen. I really appreciate my partner in that. He doesn't want to say anything, so, but I do appreciate how we are parenting, and I'm really proud of this young man right here, and he knows that. And we just continue to thank Govans, and I've said it many times, again, over and over. Govans was a choice of passion and love for me when I was looking for a school. And so I will absolutely say I called the school for pre-K, and I was like, I need some help. And the Miss Smith was so kind to me, and she was just like, come on, baby, come on in, bring your stuff. You got it? I'll be here until 10 a.m. And I'm like, I'm on the way. But just that kind of customer service and passion that she had for someone that she didn't know, but she heard it in my voice, a parent wanting a good place for her son to go to school. And so it's just been a blessing. Ms. McFadden has also been fantastic. Sandy McFadden, the Dragons after school, this lady here, Ms. Couch Murray, I'm sorry, did I say that right? I did. I'm a little nervous. Principal Kwa, who's been with us from the beginning. I've just really been thankful for what I found at Govans and all the teachers and administrators that have been there. So, thank you.
Hello, can y'all hear me? Hi, everybody. So I'm Mrs. CM, or Jasmine Couch Murray, and I am one of the co-directors of the Dragons After School program. So I get to see Kadar during the day, especially during lunch, but I get to see him in action during after school, so academics, enrichment, chess, cooking, all of the great things. And I am actually the person that put in a nomination for today. And he was the first nomination I had, and I started in October. He's one of the first students that I really connected with, and I've been able to watch him grow over these months, and it's been such a blessing. So super proud, super, super proud of this young man right here, and the family, and the staff at Govans. We are just a very tight-knit group, and I'm just very thankful for you guys, and thank you for sharing him with us.
Thank you, and thank you for putting in the nomination. Thank you so much. It's those nominations that give us what we need to select these wonderful students across the district. Is the principal here?
Yes.
You want to say something?
Can I use this one? Share. So thank you for taking this time to honor and acknowledge one of our magnificent scholars here in Baltimore City Public Schools. We so often hear about the not so great stuff. So it's great to see us highlighting someone who's working so hard and doing so well. Now, Kadar's not gonna like this part, but I'm gonna tell it anyway. It's hard to look at Kadar and remember that he was once that pre-K student that it took a team of staff members to pry from his mother's hands every morning at breakfast. And when I say a team, the custodian would bribe him, I would bribe him, the then principal would bribe him. And it's just hard to see Kadar now and think that that is the same person, but I am so proud of him. And he's just socially, emotionally, academically, an outstanding student. And I want to thank his parents for letting us be a part of his journey. I can't wait to see all the amazing things that he will do. Congratulations.
So I want to join the family, and I want to invite my fellow commissioners to join, as well as the principal and staff, to take a photo with Kadar. Jesus? Kadar. Ah, nice. One more. Very nice. Okay, our second winner is Neve Carter Booth. Neve is a 10th grader at P-Tech at Paul Lawrence Dunbar High School in East Baltimore. Neve excels on and off the court. As a P-Tech student, she is duly enrolled taking courses at the high school and college level.
Oh, yeah.
Currently, Neve has a 3.854 unweighted GPA in high school and a 3.75 GPA in college at Baltimore City Community College. Nice. Not to mention, Neve is a 3-letter athlete playing volleyball, tennis, and captain of the basketball team. Awesome. In her free time, Neve volunteers at school events and as a mentor for incoming P-Tech students during the summer. It is now my pleasure to invite Neve, Neve's family, and our P-Tech at Paul Lawrence Dunbar High School to join me and to join Neve in accepting the Scholar Superstar Award. And Neve, if you would like to share some words, please do so. So you all can come to the table. Neve, you want to share a few words with us? No? Yes?
I want to say thank you to Ms. Williams for nominating me. And also thank you to my family and Ms. Nacia for coming. That's it. Yeah.
What would you say, Neve, right, because you're a 10th grader, correct? So I know a lot of students who are not duly enrolled until later in high school. So talk to us a little bit about that process and why would you encourage other students to participate in a dual enrollment program? What benefits have you seen?
So it's not easy. It is a little challenging because, like, since we're still in high school, we don't know all of the stuff that college students would know. So we have to, like, talk to our teachers and professors to kind of, like, get them to work with us. But I think it's good because I think it's like 1 to 2 years, depending on what I choose to do, that I'll get my associate's degree after I graduate high school. So then I could get a job, and if I want to do something else, just because I don't know what I want to do yet, if I want to do something else, I could, like, help my parents, not pay for the whole thing, but help them pay for college.
That means you've got options, right?
Yeah.
And you should be very proud of that. And don't think that you're not a college student, because you are a college student in the 10th grade, right? That's how we want you to think about that process. So you can stand toe to toe with those students who are taking classes because you're doing it. Congratulations, Neve.
Thank you.
So I know we have some members of your village that are here tonight. So if anyone wants to, is this Dad with the phone? Is this Dad? Somebody take Dad's phone from him so Dad can make some comments tonight. Or you can hold the phone and the mic at the same time. But Dad, we'd love to hear from you this evening.
I'm extremely proud of her. She's doing more than expected. She come from a long line of brothers and sisters. She have 8 of them. And they all are doing good, but she's doing the best. And I'm extremely proud of her. Even though she get mad at me all the time when I don't agree with everything she does.
Hi, I'm her mom, and Neve is the baby. So you would say that Neve can have diarrhea of the mouth, if you will. But as far as school is concerned and education is concerned, she always gives her best. She is a perfectionist. If she doesn't understand something, she'll ask questions, but if the questions don't turn out the way she wants them to, then she'll just go silent. And we're trying to talk to her about that one. But with everything being said, Neve is just awesome. She's awesome. And I don't think I tell her that often enough, because we're always making sure that she does what she's supposed to do. That sometimes when we're, as parents, as much as we want to make sure that they're as perfect as they can be, we forget to realize that they're also people. And with that being said, I have to make sure and say to her, Neve, I love you, and I don't expect you to be perfect, but I expect you to do your best. And she hears it often, real often. But yeah, she's a champion in my life.
Oh, that's beautiful.
my baby.
That's beautiful. So Neve family, we're going to come up. We're going to get a photo with you, our board chair. She's going to make sure that you get your beautiful award. We're so proud of you and the work that you're doing. And we're going to invite our commissioners up as well to take a photo along with our chief of staff. So our student commissioner, Quinn, was a part of the selection. So we want to make sure he gets close to Neve tonight as well in the photo.
You guys ready?
Could you take a picture with mom's phone?
Yes.
The other phone? Red?
Hold on, wait. I don't see the camera. Hold that pose. Got it.
Okay, thank you, everyone. And I want to also shout out and thank our student commissioner, Commissioner Katz-Zogby, for helping to participate in that process. So thank you. Okay, I want to, is there a motion to approve the personnel matters?
So move, Roberts.
Thank you, Commissioner Roberts. Is there a second?
Second, Esposito.
Thank you, Commissioner Esposito. All in favor? Commissioner McFadden?
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks?
Yes.
Commissioner Coy?
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito?
Yes.
Commissioner Griffin?
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay?
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts?
Yes.
Commissioner Sally?
Yes.
And I am in favor. That motion passes with 9 in favor and 1 absent. I want to now turn it over to our Chief of Staff, Allison Perkins Cohen for comments.
Thank you, Madam Board Chair. So first, I want to just do a quick welcome to Commissioner Slater Harrington, who I've had the pleasure of working with in her capacity at the Family League. And so I think it's really important to note, too, that you're a public servant in your day life, too. So to do this, take on 2 public service responsibilities is really great.
We got an entourage coming in, so.
Okay, look at this.
So I think they're part of your comments tonight.
They are. So we're going to recognize, hello, Coach Smith. We're going to recognize the Dunbar football team today. So that's who's piling in. We're very excited. So this is a belated celebration of our state champion football team, the Dunbar Poets. So this team won the championship back in December. They defeated the Patuxent Panthers by a score of 22-13. Completing their second undefeated season in a row to win their second straight state championship. This is the 12th state championship in the school's history and a remarkable achievement. We had to delay the celebration because we wanted to wait until we resumed an in-person meeting. And so I want to invite Coach Lawrence Smith to say a few words about his championship team. So there is Mike, you can use this one if you want.
This one right here.
Good. Thank you. Good. Okay, so yeah, this team, we completed back-to-back state championships, undefeated, but I always tell folk that's one feat. The biggest thing about us is that we have a team GPA of 3.5. We have, out of our senior class, we have multiple students going to a lot of different colleges. One of them here is Tony Hart. He's have a full scholarship to Elon University. We have a lot of other kids. One of our defensive ends, Joshua Fed, he's going to Harvard on a full scholarship. So that's one thing that we do. We pride ourselves about if our young men is just using football as a vehicle to go to college. So that's what we pride ourselves off with our program. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Coach Smith, and I appreciate all y'all being here. I had the wonderful opportunity to be at your game when you won, and it was really great. It was a great experience, and you guys showed a lot of heart and came back, and it was a wonderful game, and I'm so glad to be there. So I think we should do a picture.
And can we also celebrate the incredible Dr. Reeves, who's the principal at Dunbar, that makes y'all's work easier. And all of the Dunbar school staff, we certainly appreciate all of what they do. So guys, come this way and just face that way, but come all the way back toward the table. Yeah, we're going to face the audience.
Okay, so We also are a little bit behind because we have more champions to recognize at future events. So we've got to congratulate the Baltimore City College and Edmondson West Side. Both basketball teams won, the boys basketball teams won the state championship last weekend. So we will be bringing them back to celebrate them. And also Alpha Blade from Digital Harvard. She was a state indoor champion in 300-meter dash. We'll celebrate these champions in person at a future board meeting. Okay. All right, so we have lots to celebrate tonight, and so excited to celebrate all the students that are here with us. First, we're going to recognize Cassidy Regal. It's my great pleasure to recognize a student who has achieved excellence in the arts. So Cassidy Regal, is Cassidy here? Great, you guys want to come up and maybe sit at the table?
You're this whole time?
Yeah. She's hiding from you. So Cassidy Regal is a senior, like Quinn is, at Baltimore School for the Arts, and she's a major in dance. She was named one of 60 nominees to win the 2023 Presidential Scholars in the Arts Award, one of the nation's highest honors for high school students who exemplify artistic and academic excellence. Cassidy is one of just 3. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. Cassidy is one of just 3 Maryland students to be nominated for this prestigious award, and she was previously a finalist for the 2023 Young Arts Award. Cassidy, her mother, and I don't know, is Principal Cawthon here? No? She had to leave. Oh, sorry, we took too long. Sorry, Principal Cawthon, are with us tonight, and I'd like to invite them to come forward and tell us about your achievement.
Hi, thank you for having me. I just want to thank Baltimore School for the Arts for being a part of my journey as a dancer. I'm getting emotional. Sorry.
Just take your time.
It's really important to me that I become a professional dancer, and I don't think that would be able to happen without BSA, and going to Young Arts was a really life-changing experience for me, and I'm really excited to see how Presidential Scholar works out, and I'm eternally grateful for my mom and my dad, who's not here, but this senior year has really been one to remember, and it's really surreal. I never kind of saw myself as an award-winning dancer, but things turn out, so. But yeah, I'm just really thankful for Baltimore City Public Schools for having an art school, because it's really changed my life, so thank you.
Mom, do you want to say anything?
Sure. So Cassidy is an extremely hard worker. I'm very proud of her accomplishments. She's been dancing since she was really little. She doesn't give herself enough credit, but on top of that, she had a serious surgery her sophomore year before COVID. And she had a limb lengthening surgery where they inserted a metal rod in her leg and extended her leg over at Sinai. So with that being said, it's actually quite remarkable that she's been able to achieve all the things she has. And I've taught her to just, you can always do whatever you want. Just work hard and it'll all pay off. And I don't think she would have been able to achieve a lot of the things that she's achieved without Baltimore School for the Arts. It's absolutely an amazing school for artists. And we wouldn't have even known about the program if it wasn't for Baltimore School for the Arts. And that program is acknowledged by some of the most world-renowned artists in the world. And we were absolutely shocked that she was a winner. And it was really a life-changing experience for her. So Baltimore School for the Arts does change lives. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Well, anybody who got to see you dance at the Nutcracker Suite this year knows that you are an award-winning dancer. And also, I got to go to Expressions, which was also incredible. I got to see Quinn perform as well. So
you were not the only one at Expressions. Commissioner
sure were-
Roberts
you
and
sure were
I
not.
went to Expressions as well and saw the incredible work that those young people are doing at that school. So kudos, congratulations to you. And you sit like a dancer. The posture is there. You've got it all there. Congratulations.
All right, should we do a picture?
Yes.
Okay, and now we have a room full of scholars, and that we're at the big moment where we're going to recognize all these incredible scholars in front of us. So thank you all for being here, and thank you for patiently waiting till we got to this moment. So I'd like to call out congratulations to City School students, teachers, and administrators who were recently honored by the Gifted and Talented Advisory Council for the State Department of Education. There are 33 students who were honored for outstanding student accomplishment in gifted and talented education, representing 9 schools across the district. So yes, that's a big accomplishment. I invite each student to stand when your name is called, and I would ask that there's a lot of students from some of these schools, so I would ask that we hold our applause until all students have been recognized. So first, starting from Roland Park, we have Amal Shaw Nelson. Are you here? Oh, I did, sorry. I just got excited. I violated my own rule, Amal, sorry. Got excited. All right, Daxton Abel Skinner. I'll sit on my hands. Daxton Abel Skinner. Here. This is the reason they don't let me do this very often. Okay, Isaac Kamiankowski. Hi, Isaac. Thank you for being here. Okay, Ashani Kanjasen. Okay, James Ash. Thank you. Oh, reading, good. I like it. Keeping with the gift in advanced learning. I like it. Ziva Abel Skinner. Ziva. Harlow Mascara. Did I pronounce it correctly? Nope. How do I? Mishera. Thank you. I didn't get the gifted award, so thank you for telling me. Yvette Screeber. No? Okay, and then we also have several other students from Roland Park who couldn't join us in person, so I'm just going to call out their names. Allison Thompson, Natalie Zakamska, Natalie Berry, Rosalie Chadney, and Jamie Zhu. So can we just do a round of applause for Roland Park, and then we'll go to the next school? Yes. Yes. Shandane. Okay. Oh, I did not have it right. Thank you for telling me. Okay. I appreciate you telling me that. Okay. All right. Now we're going to do Baltimore International Academy. So we have Brooklyn Morrell. Oh, I did it. Sorry, I'm the worst. Okay, sorry. Okay, McCoral Goovy. McCoral Goovy. I would applaud, but they won't let me, McCoral. Sang Mei Yang. All right, excellent. So now we can do Baltimore BIA, yes. Yay. Okay.
Another.
Oh, is this from East still, Principal? Okay. Oh, yes. Oh, so sorry. I was going to read East separately. I have two others from Baltimore International Academy East. Brandon Dickens II and Kamaya Boulware. Are they not here? No. Okay, but Kendall's here. Kendall Lloyd. Okay, great. All right, those are the two BIA schools. Congratulations. Okay, now we have one from Baltimore City College, Madeline Jones. I got it right. Okay, then Baltimore Polytechnic, we have two students, Eden Rhodes and Ira Geller. Couldn't be with us tonight, but Eden. Okay, we have a few students from Francis Scott Key, so everybody hold your applause. I'm sitting on my hands. Okay, Atman Patel. Yay. Giovanni Vaughn. Keely Brelsford. And Joshua, I think Joshua Adler and Jack Bassey could not join us tonight, so I don't think they're here. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I think it's a mix. So congratulations, Francis Scott Key. And we got the chance to visit some of these students when we were at Francis Scott Key for our cabinet retreat recently. So we got to meet some of you. And they did a presentation for us. That was amazing. Oh, okay. Okay. We did clap for the presentation. They allowed me to, and cabinet were allowed to. Okay, then we have from Mount Royal, the child of one of our own, Tina Hike Hubbard and John Hubbard. We have Harrison Hubbard. Oh, sorry.
How many?
And Justin Cook. Thank you. Woohoo. Go, Harrison. That's awesome. And from the Academy for College and Career Exploration, we have one student who's here and then one who couldn't join us tonight. So Joy Kuga, did I pronounce? Koga, thank you. And Sudarshan Shahi couldn't join us tonight, but Joy. And then we also had winners who are not here from Kip Harmony, Brittany Atkins, as well as our virtual learning program, Aiden McElgun. And all that good work, we also have to recognize the leadership. So I want to also recognize Dr. Ray Lemer from our Gift and Advanced Learning Office who's here. And then we have advocates Alex Clough. Okay, thank you. So I'm sure about this. Heidi Trisati from Francis Scott Key. No. And advocate Aaron Perkins from Roland Park. Is Aaron here? No. And then congratulations to all of you for achieving this academic excellence. We're really proud of you and all your work to get here. And I also want to take this moment to recognize a special thanks to Dennis Jutras, who I think is still in the back over there, who is our superstar coordinator for Gift and Advanced Learning and make sure that all of our students have opportunities. So we are very grateful to you, Dennis, for all your work. All right, so that's great. All right, and so that concludes my remarks for the evening. And except for that, I have to do the PEP because, thankfully, the board chair reminded me. So Emily Nielsen, our Chief Human Capital Officer, is going to come up and read the PEP. Thank you. See, takes a little support.
Thanks, Allison. Good evening, commissioners. I'm just going to wait a moment while they transition.
Chief, you can go ahead and get
I
started.
think it's okay?
Sure.
Okay. On our PEP tonight, an appointment from the Office of the Chief Academic Officer recommended that Milton Garns, currently Educational Specialist 2, Suspension Services, be appointed Coordinator, Non-Public Placement Services effective April 11th, 2023. And an appointment from the Office of the Chief Human Capital Officer, Zelda Johnson, currently Interim Director Employee Engagement, be appointed Director Employee Engagement effective March 15th, 2023. Thank you.
Okay, now I really turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Chief Perkins Cohen. I will now review the consent agenda. Board colleagues, please let me know if you would like an item removed, and please state your question for staff. I am pulling items 8.02 and 8.03 so that the student commissioner can vote. 8.01, American Federation of State, County, Municipal Employees. 12.01, NCS Pearson, Inc. Can you check that?
Yep.
Okay. 12.02, Yelena Leadership Foundation, Inc. 20.01, Community Schools. 20.02, Panorama Education, Inc. Okay, thank you. We will now move to public comment. Speakers from recognized groups will have the opportunity to speak for 5 minutes. First, we have Keisha Goodwin, representing the Baltimore Teachers Union.
Evening, CEO and committee. I hope all is well. I am Keisha Goodwin, a paraeducator currently on external assignment, part of the BTU PSRP member engagement team. This evening, I will focus on continuous and newly arise issues for the PSRP chapter members. These issues range from, but not limited to, confusion about essential functions, on job description, substitute pay requirements, bonus retro payout, and PSRP having keys to classroom or office they are assigned to. Job description. The job description on the application tracking system, ATS, may not be the same as the official job description. When this happens, confusion persists in the function of a position. For example, on ATS for the paraeducator, there is not a lifting or pushing requirement. However, on the official job description, there is such requirement. Also, the paraeducator can shift job titles within the one paraeducator classification to an ESOL, SPED, academic tutor, early literacy tutor, etc. There is not a lifting or pushing requirement on those ATS job descriptions either. BTU is asking for you to continue to work with us to resolve these discrepancies. Although there has been improvement with the district submitting the substitute pay schedule, there is still uncertainty about what is the pay for a person substituting with less than 30 college credits. What are the requirements to receive special education pay? There are desired requirements in the substitute teacher job description for SPED. How does this apply to our paraeducators? Is the special education training still being offered during the new teacher summer institute? Is there additional trainings throughout the year for our paraeducators? BTU has a solution to how it can apply, or at least comparably. We need agreement in black and white on paper for there to be clarity and consistent with pay across the board for our paraeducators. Recently, the PSRP chapter members received a bonus and retro pay according to the contract. In efforts to be proactive and consider payroll capacity, President Brown asked for the bonus and retro pay to be on separate pay periods. However, the payout schedule was not aligned with the oral agreement during the negotiation sessions. Thus, some members received both the bonus and retro on March 3rd, or they received the bonus but not the retro, or the retro but not the bonus. This caused confusion and frustration with some PSRPs. BTU is asking you to adhere to agreements. BCPSS has been fortunate to not have a mass shooter tragedy. However, our schools have violence and other serious issues. Our PSRPs are often asked to substitute for the class which they serve when the teacher is absent. With this being said, do all PSRP members who are designated staff for an office or classroom have a key that locks their door? Does the door lock from the inside as well as the outside? All staff should be able to lock the door or classroom that they serve. For example, a pre-kindergarten para, special education, or ESOL para designated to one classroom should have a key to that room. The office assistants, an attendance monitor, etc. should have a key to their office. The door should be able to lock from the inside. This is important to the safety of our members, your employees. Please speak with school administration as applicable to ensure that these PSRPs have a key and a door that locks from the inside and out. Thanks for your attention to these matters. BTU looks forward to being a partner in this work.
Next, we have Ethan Ablagi from ASCBC.
We can't hear it, Jessica. We have no volume.
My name is Ethan Ablagi, and I'm the president of the Associated Student Congress of Baltimore City. Earlier this month, ASCBC had the privilege of convening hundreds of students, elementary, middle, and high, from 36 SGAs in every corner of the city in our first in-person General Assembly of the school year. This, coupled with a second SGA advisor training held at Digital Harbor this week, exemplified the immense gains made in cultivating youth leadership and student government across the district. Additionally, district staff requested and we have submitted written feedback on revisions to policies ADH and KIB. Moreover, the hard work of the Policy JJA work group and the stakeholders they have begun engaging has resulted in a strong proposed revision which puts student voice first and will empower the creation of new SGAs and student-led organizations across the district, and we are excited by those revisions progressing through the policymaking process of city schools. Ultimately, we are glad to see the school district make new strides in recognizing students as individuals necessary for proper public engagement on policy decisions. Sadly, worse news in city schools has also made recent headlines. The killing of our fellow student Isaiah Carter at Patterson High School last week has shaken students across the district and left teachers and families further traumatized by violence. ASCBC conveys our most sincere condolences to Isaiah's family and our solidarity with the entire Patterson community. His family and other Patterson parents have rightfully spent the last week speaking out about their concerns with school safety in the district, and their sentiment that those concerns have not been addressed directly by district staff or the school board. From every corner of the city, we have heard people who feel that their concerns about the safety of the city's students have fallen on deaf ears. While we are very grateful for specific district offices, such as Director Bolden's team, which is overseeing the rollout of Evolve weapons detection systems, making active efforts to engage students, that is not enough. Meeting with SGAs is not enough. Meeting students and families where they are is key, and offering as many accessible avenues as possible for community members to offer input is paramount. Today, you will hear from a small sample of these community members about those concerns. Teachers and members of the BTU about, for example, their importance of locking doors in school campuses. Some of our fellow students at Edmonton Westside High, another school whose community has endured gun violence this year, have felt unheard as several CTE pathways end at their school. Compounded with the looming closure of Stuart Hill Academy on the southwest side, these losses to what our schools offer only lessens the resources available in the classroom, raising the risk of student homelessness and gun violence. These are just examples, but represent some of the critical issues surrounding safety of students in city schools. Even more worryingly, on the topic of school safety, the recent revelations uncovered in an MPIA inquiry filed by Melissa Schober found that, contrary to what was previously assumed by community members, in line with what they have been told in interaction with district staff, school police are actually obtaining student arrest warrants during the school day via a warrant apprehension task force. Without district staff being compensated for this legwork, we cede further ground to the BPD and expend our precious city schools dollars doing their job. Whatever can be said about safety policies in Baltimore City schools, it is clear that the status quo is not working for students, teachers, and families. And rests at the heart of this critical issue of permanent school closures, our biggest priority must be community engagement and hearing from the people directly impacted by the problems we seek to address. In the interest of avoiding redundancy, I will end by quoting the recent words of Councilman Zeke Cohen. A coalition of student and community leaders is forming. We will not be quiet while our children suffer. I echo the councilman's words, and I thank the school board for considering what I've said here today. Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, Jessica, could you continue on with our public comments? Thank you.
First up, we have Mr. Robert Marinelli.
Good evening. This is Bobby Marinelli, and I'm a veteran teacher at Poly. And I'd like today to talk about safety in the classroom, specifically lockable doors from the inside. As we know, the Sandy Hook Advisory Commission, their #1 recommendation was the classroom doors be lockable from the inside. Now at Poly, we've got scores of classrooms, almost none of which are lockable from the inside. In addition, many of the door locks have been changed because they've broken through the years. So a teacher floating from one room to another may have to worry about which key they're using. Additionally, what about subs? There's a sub in the classroom, they don't have keys to anything. In an active shooter situation, how are we going to get that door secure? I beg you, please reach out to Baltimore City's public schools, insist that they correct this, that they make classroom doors lockable from the inside. Thank you.
Next, we have Miss Christina Duncan Evans.
My name is Christina Duncan Evans, and I'm a teacher chapter chair for the Baltimore Teachers Union. I'm coming to you this afternoon to speak on the issue of school safety and locking doors. For me, as an educator, I spent 10 years working in a high school and then 3 years working in an elementary middle school. In that time, I never taught in a classroom or worked in a school library that had doors that locked from the inside of the room. When a school lockdown happens, the most important thing that we do is keep students safe as quickly as possible. Doors that lock from the interior of a classroom help us keep students safe and help preserve valuable time in a lockdown situation where we might not know where threats are coming from. School safety can be a divisive issue. We have a lot of different ideas about how to keep students safe, but locks are a simple, consistent idea that has widespread consensus. We have the capacity, there's money available in school safety grants to make this possible, and it should be an easy fix to help keep students and staff safe. Thank you very much.
Next, we have Joe Pauley.
Good afternoon, School Board Commissioners. My name is Mr. Powley. I'm a fourth-year teacher at Western High School. I'm speaking to you today regarding the issue of school safety, particularly around the remedy of locking doors. The studies have and research has shown repeatedly that the simple solution of locking doors that can lock on both sides from the inside and out is the single most effective thing we can do to help reduce casualties and fatalities in the event of a school shooting. And it should be a no-brainer. Unfortunately, many of the doors at our school don't lock from both sides. They only lock from the outside, which puts staff in a very dangerous situation in the case of a lockdown, especially if we have to admit students who are in the hallway in the middle of a lockdown. So I strongly encourage the school board commissioners to look into this issue and to push for it and make sure every door in every school in the city has this basic safety feature. And I think it's something parents would appreciate, teachers would appreciate, and students would appreciate as well. So thank you.
Next, we have Mr. Michael Kennedy.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Kennedy. I'm a city schools employee at Moravia Park Elementary, and today I'm going to be providing public comment about the issue of safety and locked doors. To me, school safety is super important, but it's also simple. It's knowing that everyone inside the building has a convenient way to exit if need be, and also knowing that anyone entering the building will be properly vetted. This is my second stint at Moravia Park. I first joined the staff back in 2002-2003 school year as a long-term sub. It may be surprising to some that we have many of those same doors from back in the day. These doors can and often are left open due to the locking mechanism not being properly closed or delatched. It's simple. We need to stop being distracted by gimmicks and make sure that we are focusing on the important things, like having secured lockable doors so that students are safe. Thank you for your time. Good afternoon.
Next, we have Ms. Madeline Monson-Rosen.
My name is Madeline Munson-Rosen, and I'm a city schools teacher at Coffin Academy. I am providing public comments about the issue of school safety and locking doors. My school is in an older building that often has broken locks on doors. Some teachers don't have keys to their own classroom, and sometimes locks will be fixed only to be broken again, sometimes as soon as the same day. Many students have expressed to me that they don't feel safe in our rooms because of this. I was a floating teacher, so I taught in 4 different rooms, and I never had keys to any of those doors. So during lockdowns or drills, I just had to close the door and wait and hope for the best. Secure entrances, locking doors, teachers with keys, these are fundamental and basic to keeping our students and ourselves safe. My school does not need theatrical gimmicks like electronic weapons detection or more police in and around our school. What we need are doors that lock from the inside and teachers with keys. Thank you.
Next, we have Mr. Ryan Tetmeyer.
Good afternoon. My name is Ryan Tegmeyer, and I am a city schools teacher at Edmondson Westside High School for the past 16 years. I'm providing public comments about the issue of school safety and locking doors. So for me, school safety is all about an environment in which every member of the staff and student body can quickly and effectively secure themselves in any foreseeable situation. So my school, Edmondson Westside High School, was constructed in 1955, and in that time it has never received any serious renovations. So almost every doorknob in the building is almost 70 years old. So when the tragic events occurred at our school on January 4th, we were forced to enter into a 4-hour lockdown. And in that situation, I myself took me almost a minute to actually lock my door because it's very worn out. It is very difficult and temperamental to actually lock. So I was in a hallway for almost a full minute trying to lock my door during this very serious situation. So the events at my school, as well as these sadly repeated incidents across the city that occurred just this year demand that we need to take student safety within our buildings far more seriously. And I beg this board to please ensure our student safety by providing effective and expert recommended doorknobs for every door in every one of our buildings. Thank you for your time and have a good day.
Next, we will have Mr. Sean Purvis and Mr. Sean Rice and Sean Purvis.
We can't hear this. I think it's muted.
Give me one moment.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay. My name is Sean Purvis. I am a high school student at Carver Vocational Technical High School. What I have seen at my school is I seen a student place a folded piece of paper inside of a door and leave and come back in 2 hours. And he could have grabbed anything, any weapon, anything that can harm anybody. What I think would make sense is if we would spend money instead of on an evolved system, spend money on just getting better doors so they can actually lock. And if we have a substitute, they can't lock the doors because they don't have a key. So instead of just having one side lock both sides, so if we have a code red, a perpetrator can easily just come in, open the door, and do whatever they need to do. And I also believe that we need to have the doors locked on both sides so nothing like that could happen, whereas though an actual person might come in with a dangerous weapon. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sean Rice. I'm a high school student at Career Academy within Augusta Fells. And from some things that I've seen have been more so school police that don't really do their job, or they overuse their power. There have been cases I've seen where school police, they use aggressive force to apprehend students who are doing nothing wrong. There have also been cases of theft within certain schools I've gone to. A teacher once got her keys taken out of her room and they stole her car. And as well as the locked door situation, we don't really have locked doors. Substitutes for the doors that can lock, they don't have keys. So they have no way to lock the door for protection. If there's a code red, a armed perpetrator could easily get access to the classroom that the teacher or the students are in, and there could be casualties. As for what I heard about the Evolve system, it's more so another metal detector. So I don't think it would be as useful as people claim it would be. Instead, we could put the money into mental health resources and more after-school programs, or more so school resources. There is a lack of resources for schools, such as books, pencils, pens, other things that students need. And I feel as though if students were to have other programs to communicate with staff, it would build better bonds and trust between them and the staff and the school, and it would cease any problems. And thank you. That is all.
Next, we have Melissa McDonald. I'll go to the next person and come back. We have Mr. Nathan Farrell.
My name is Nathan Farrell. I'm a Baltimore City public school teacher, and I'm providing public comment about the issue of school safety and locking doors. School safety is incredibly important to me as an educator and to my students. The #1 recommendation from the Sandy Hook Advisory Commission and the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School Public Safety Commission is that all doors within a school lock from the inside and the outside. It is my hope that this board will consider addressing the issue of locked doors and secure entrances before they spend money on other things. In fiscal year 2018, Baltimore City Public Schools spent $4.32 million in overtime on city schools police. In fiscal year 19, they budgeted $6.94 million, and instead they spent $11.27, spending $4.3 million in overtime on city schools police. In fiscal year 20, it was $5.4 million in overtime that was not budgeted for on city schools police. In fiscal year 21, Baltimore City Public Schools budgeted for a little over $7 million, and they ended up spending almost $11.5. $4.4 million was spent on overtime for Baltimore City Public Schools police. The evidence does not point to spending money on overtime on school police as a way to ensure safety during an active shooter incident. The evidence says that having doors that lock from the inside and the outside of classrooms, as well as secure entrances and exits, is the best evidence-based approach for managing school safety. Thank you for your time.
And I'm going to go back to Miss Melissa McDonald. Give me one moment.
My name is Melissa McDonald, and I'm an English teacher at Connections. Today, I'm speaking on school safety and doors that lock on the inside and out. When I get to school every morning, I make a regular practice of walking down the hallway past my room to check to make sure that both of my doors are locked. If they're not locked, I lock them. I often teach class without knowing if my doors are locked. I'm alerted to unlocked doors when my students open the door and enter the class on their own. I've taught in 3 separate schools in the last 14 years where there have been lockdowns due to weapons in the schools, shootings in the community, and school riots. Upon lockdown, there's no way to know for sure if my room is locked unless I go into the hallway and individually test each door. I usually cross my fingers and hope. Even when I do lock my door and I close and check it from the outside, I'm not 100% sure that my door is still locked when I have to use my key to re-enter the room. Our goal is to know that we are using evidence-based recommendations to keep our students and our staff safe at school.
And lastly, we'll have the only written public comment by Mr. Noah Nelson, read by Commissioner Coy.
This is an email from Noah Nelson. I'm writing to you as a member of the Stewart Hill Academy community in regard to the decision to permanently close the school. Since 2010, we have seen over 12,000 public schools permanently closed, and Stewart Hill is slated to be another. Why are we doing this? I want to get across that closing the school and closing schools overall is an act of violence against the communities impacted. What you are proceeding with is in full disregard of the community voices, as well as unfairly blaming the school being the issue when it is systemically neglected, just like many other city schools. To keep closing schools means we keep shutting down communities, blaming them for systemic issues. Schools are underinvested, particularly schools with high percentages of students of color. Here we are, a community of color, being shunned out by a decision that is not representative of us. Closing schools has not shown to be an effective method of creating better for our children. In fact, research has shown that displaced students do worse in the new schools they attend. The decision is not even backed by research. The Stewart Hill community is rich, joyous, and centered around community. The amazing teachers we have here are doing their best and we support them. Instead, you all have decided to tell us what is best for us. What happened to community empowerment? What happened to righting the wrongs of historic racism? This is a clear example of not standing true to that. Ultimately, I hope you decide to reverse the decision and live by the words in which you claim to preach. From Noah Nelson.
Is that it? Was that the last one, Jessica? Yes, okay, thank you. So I want to go to our first pulled item, 8.02, the proposed academic calendar. And I want to ask Commissioner Katz-Zogby, do you have any specific questions about that item?
No, I do not.
Okay, okay. So is there a motion to approve item 8.02?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner
Kenyatta
Bay. Is there a second?
Second, Katz-Zogby.
Thank you, Commissioner Katz-Zogby. All in favor, Commissioner McFadden?
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks?
Yes.
Commissioner Coy?
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito?
Yes.
Commissioner Griffin?
Yes.
Commissioner Katz-Zogby?
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay?
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts?
Yes.
Commissioner Sally?
Yes.
And I am in agreement. That motion passes with 10 in favor and 1 absent. I want to go to item 8.03, and I want to call Chief Sivens to discuss.
Thank you and good evening. Josh Siven, Chief Legal Officer. So this is a work we've done on a whole suite of policies on non-discrimination. They include our policies on bullying and our policies on staff non-discrimination and student non-discrimination. We've done several rounds of revisions to these policies in light of changes to the legal landscape, including regulations. Most significantly, the Biden administration proposed revisions to Title IX regulations that govern sex-based harassment and discrimination. Those regulations at the federal level follow up on revisions that were made by the Trump administration, that follow up on revisions that were made by the Obama administration. Those revisions remain pending. They were proposed in the fall, and sorry about that. They were proposed in the fall, and there were more than 235,000 comments submitted. We didn't want to wait until the regulations were finished to get a head start on our process because we want this to be in place for the next school year. So we started the revision process. Unfortunately, the federal government is moving with all deliberate speed, and they expect their final regulation to come out not until May. So rather than just adopt the pieces that were not based on that, we've taken a look and want to propose that the board go to third reader on this to give us time for the review of whatever's finalized by the federal government. We think we're in a good place. We've gotten a lot of feedback. This will actually give us a little bit more time to review. We had some comments that have come in and we want to work with additional stakeholders, so that's the benefit here, but really we want to wait till that process goes forward. The board has the authority to move to third reader. There is a provision in your policies, specifically in policy, I want to make sure I get it right, in policy BGB, that says that third reader should occur no later than 4 weeks after second reader. The policy also says you can waive this by a majority vote. So we're recommending that the board move that because the U.S. Department of Education has not finalized the regulations, that third reader be deferred until after the federal department has finished its regulations, and then to move to suspend your policy to permit that longer period of time. So that is our proposal today. We're doing work. We wanted to be ahead of the game, and I think we are. And just this aligns with the reality of slower federal processes than the efficient and engaged process we have in Baltimore City Schools.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Commissioner Roberts, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Kenyatta Bay. All in favor, Commissioner McFadden,
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks,
Yes.
Commissioner Coy,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Griffin,
Yes.
Commissioner Katz-Zogby,
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Sally,
Yes.
and I am in favor. That motion passes with 10 in favor and 1 absent. I want to move to item 20.02, Panorama Education, and I'm pulling that one for vote. Is there a motion to approve item 20.02?
So moved. McFadden.
Thank you, Commissioner McFadden. Is there a second?
Second, Robert.
Thank you, Commissioner Roberts. All in favor, Commissioner McFadden,
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks.
I abstain.
Okay. Commissioner Coy,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Griffin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Sally.
I abstain.
I am in favor. That motion passes with 7 in favor and 2 abstentions. Now I want to go to all of the remaining procurement items. Is there a motion to approve the remaining items?
So moved. McFadden.
Thank you, Commissioner McFadden. Is there a second?
Second. Bay.
Thank you, Commissioner Kenyatta Bay. All in favor, Commissioner McFadden,
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks,
Yes.
Commissioner Coy,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Griffin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Sally,
Yes.
and I am in favor. That motion passes with 9 in favor and 1 absent. Did we have 2 committee meetings? Just one? Teaching and learning. Okay, thank you very much. Do you want to give a report?
We did have a virtual learning update on our virtual learning program last week. We had an opportunity to hear from several students. Commissioner Bay and I were able to hear from several students who talked about their experiences, and those students are doing well. And so it's nice to see that there is a diverse portfolio within city schools. We also heard a wholeness update, Madam Chair, if I may. It was nice information that we heard around wholeness. There still is work to be done, but Commissioner Brooks and Commissioner Kenyatta Bay, if we could take a very few minutes just to talk about some of the experiences that you all had on Tuesday and prior to Tuesday with Commissioner Bay. Commissioner Brooks was not at our meeting, but he did attend a community forum with some students. There was a student-led group, and I think it aligns directly to the wholeness update. So Commissioner Brooks, if you don't mind just giving us a very succinct overview of that experience, and Kenyatta Bay, you as well, if you choose.
All right, 1 second. On the camera.
And Commissioner Brooks, it's difficult to hear, so if you could just speak up. It's difficult for us to hear you.
Okay, how is that? Can you hear me okay?
That's a little better. Thank you.
Okay, my headbuds are dead, so I'm using the regular situation. First, thank you all. Thank you, Vice Chair McFadden, for the opportunity. Last week on Tuesday, we were able to convene a group of students to discuss what safety meant to them in schools. This was a follow-up conversation to an incident that prior happened, and given the sort of uptick in violence that we've been seeing across the city, across the nation, we had already planned to schedule another follow-up, and it just so happens that the student lost their life at Patterson the day before. And so what was particularly striking about that convening was that when we were talking with young people about what safety meant to them, there were a couple of different things that came up. In terms of safety in the context of schools, young people talked about schools becoming more inviting spaces, that adults actually show up and support them, and making those spaces safe, and that another one of the core issues that led to students being outside of the classrooms and outside of the school buildings was sort of the lack of engagement. And sort of that even in our top tier schools, that's not the best language, even in our schools with entrance criteria, there was a sense that the way in which the curriculum was delivered did not lend itself to the types of engagement that engaged students, and led some of them anyway to engage in other ways outside of the classroom. So that was one piece. Another one of the big pieces, again, was around sort of general senses of safety, making sure that schools actually had the resources to help students deal with grief, loss, to be able to hold space for feelings that sort of come up when we're constantly facing large-scale traumatic incidents that sort of shake the foundation of how we see ourselves in communities and in the schools in which we're operating. And so it became really clear for a need for a deeper understanding of restorative practices, restorative justice, how do we sort of manage and navigate trauma, and that the least that we could do as a district is really commit to a practice of ensuring that if we can't prevent everything from happening, at least we help our young people process it and help move through grief and trauma and pain. And so that was sort of one of the other sort of key takeaways from those young people. And then lastly, I will say that there were these moments of trying to prepare our schools to be actually places where adults respected young people, and that in that respect, in the cultivation of respect, that young people felt that they would be more likely to engage teachers and other staff, that with smaller class sizes, with more teachers inside of the space, the teachers would actually have greater capacity to ask questions about how people are doing, and to prevent any challenges along with sort of addressing the role of social media and sort of maintaining conflict. And so there just needs to be a bigger and more intentional and robust effort to make SEL, social emotional learning, contextually relevant for our students, but two, to make sure that we're actually teaching students skills around conflict resolution, de-escalation, and also restorative practices and restorative justice. And so those are some of the things that came out of our session. We had about, I believe, 12 young people, and want to give a shout out to Somos for holding down and bringing those young people to the table, as well as some of the other partners in the community.
Thank you, Commissioner Brooks. Commissioner Brooks, Commissioner Kenyatta Bay.
Sorry, yes. 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of last week, a tragedy befell one of our schools, a tragedy that has reoccurred time and time again. In watching the process, and that's what I was observing, the process of coming to terms of a feeling of safety, of coming back to a school being the sanctuary that some people have depended on. I mean, our students depend on a sanctuary, which we call our schools. They come from communities and they return to communities, hopefully bringing something greater back from whence they came. But yet, as I watched, I saw a lack of faith, trust in these institutions. I saw it begin to dwindle a little bit. I mean, everybody gets back on to trying to land the plane, trying to make things back to normal, but our students begin to question at times as I talk to them, is normal really where we want to be? We did a great job of reacting. But when you react, incidents have already happened. And so what I was able to see at Patterson is a struggle to regain the stability of that feeling of safety among staff, among students. And so I understand this is not solely a school issue. This is a community issue of which schools are part of. And we need to band together in looking for solutions. And we've begun conversations with community partners. We have community partners in our schools, but we need to more fully utilize those entities. And so as I looked at this, and because, you know, Patterson was like my home, and I watched it, as I looked at this, I'm seeing a desperate struggle to maintain a sense of stability. And even like our teachers and our staff, how many times did I have to say, look, Sully was scared, but you have to land the plane, no matter what, okay? How can you tell that to a student when they have no concept of what the plane actually is? So right now we're in the process of building the plane as we fly it. But I think we're getting there. We're understanding the components. I was a wellness coach, a wholeness coach in schools, and I understand that the pieces exist. All we have to do is create the matrix to pull it together. That's about it.
Thank you, Commissioner Kenyatta-Bey. And I think a thread that we're hearing, right, is really listening to our young people, listening to our students, allowing them to lead the way. But also I would encourage us as board members and as commissioners, as we are in the season of budgeting for the system, to really have those conversations with members of our community and each other, but also with staff as we're engaging with staff around what our young people need and what our vision for the future looks like as it aligns to our strategic priorities, but also what we're listening to within our community. I want to also thank you, Commissioner Brooks and Commissioner Kenyatta-Bey, for that. I just also want to revisit Commissioner Roberts and I attended Expressions at Baltimore School for the Arts last week. Excuse me. And Commissioner Quinn was on stage in that Expressions celebration of the arts. And I just wanted to give Commissioner Quinn an opportunity. He did a great job. He was in a segment with the musical theater. He's a theater student, but there was a musical theater presentation. They did an excerpt from the musical Rent, if anyone is familiar with it. So I just want to give a few minutes of my reporting time to Commissioner Quinn to talk about that experience.
Thank you, Commissioner McFadden. Also, thank you to everyone who came to go see Expressions. It was really great to see sort of the outpouring of love and support from the city community. towards my school that I love so much, and all of the hard work that everyone there put into like making it such a great show. And also Cassidy Regal, who we honored earlier, was in Expressions, did a great job as part of the dance ensemble and doing the 2 dance pieces that they had in the show. So yeah, we get a lot of the funding for all of our arts education at BSA from events like Expressions, because a lot of our arts teachers are not actually paid by the city, they're paid by the BSA Foundation, which is a separate entity, because of just the way that funding is structured. Like there's not enough money to go around to pay for like 50 different art teachers at BSA and still pay for all of the other art teachers at all of the other excellent schools in the city. So yeah, it was really great. I think that it went really well this year. And I'm happy that it's over because it really ate up a lot of my free time. So yeah.
That's right, because there was one meeting that we had and you were late because you were coming from rehearsal.
Yeah, I was coming from rehearsal. I had rehearsal every day for 2 weeks before that. That's what everyone has to do, and that's part of why it's part of what I signed up for by going to BSA. It's a very serious school about that kind of stuff, and for better or for worse, depending on my mood. So yeah, I hope that people will come next year. I will not be in it next year. I will be in college, but it will still be a great show. And I hope that all of you, if I can shamelessly self-promote here, come to see Rent, the musical at BSA on April 20th, it opens. And I know that a lot of you have probably seen a lot of terrible high school productions. I promise that we are actually very good. And it will be wonderful. All of my friends will be in it. I will be in it. It will be beautiful. So yeah, come see stuff at BSA. We're really good. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And we know that it's not an average production because we certainly know that the Baltimore School for the Arts ranks one of the top 5 art schools in our country. So we're definitely going to look forward to participating and being there on the 20th of April to support you and all of the amazing young people and staff at Baltimore School for the Arts. And this is another shout out to all of our amazing young people who are doing amazing things around the city. Keep doing what you're doing. Continue to make us proud. You are Baltimore, and we do what we do because of you. Our upcoming meetings, Operation Committee will meet on Tuesday, March 21st at 10:30 a.m. The Policy Committee will meet virtually on that same day at 4 p.m. Executive session of the board, our next meeting will be on Tuesday, March 28th. It's right before spring break. I'm a teacher, so I'm an educator, so spring break starts that following week. And then the public board meeting will occur that same evening at 5 p.m. The next meeting of the Teaching and Learning Committee will occur not in April because it will be spring break, but on May the 2nd, 2023 at 3:30 p.m. Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn.
If I may, before we adjourn.
Sure.
I do want to return back. I know you had asked specific from comments from Dr. Brooks as well as Commissioner Kenyatta Bay about from the teaching and learning, but I do want, if we have some time that we could spend talking about that briefly with a broader or at least broader opportunity for input. It stuck with me what Ethan Bloghe said in his public comments this evening about, so the concerns falling on deaf ears and thinking about what we do proactively. And Commissioner Kenyatta Bay, your statement about that we are responding and that we are responding well. I think the district, and this has been a comment from previous instances this year, Dr. St. Elisa said, it is, and I forget her exact words, but the sentiment that I took away from it is when it becomes, when the response is as, I'll say, surgical or as precise or as everyone knows exactly what to do in the response, that that sort of tells you something that this response is needed too many times. And the pain of that in our communities for our students, you know, and I'm struggling to think, what can we do proactively? You know, as a school system has to respond when these instances happen, as a school board, what should we be doing proactively? And how should we be thinking about this? You know, and Dr. Brooks, your example of meeting with students and listening to students is something that has been sitting with me, and I've been thinking about, but I do want us, and I want myself, speak for myself, I want myself to consider what we can be doing and what we should be doing proactively. And I know there are steps that we are taking, but I think just spending whatever the right format or forum is on that is something that I want to lift up as our duty, right? Our duty of care and concern for our students and teachers, for that matter, and all staff. I mean, the trauma that is rippled through the district, you know, I can't comprehend or put into words, but I certainly can sense and feel that to some degree.
Thank you for that. One of the things we talked about in Teaching and Learning last week was looking at how we can create, Commissioner Bay, you may be able to help me, but one of the recommendations that I was making in that committee, as we're, you know, looking at developing our budget priorities, how do we become creative in having a team, right, centrally, that is able to support trauma that happens within our communities, but also supports them provided to networks, right? Each network has an office, has a staff, and then how do we then also support teachers in being able to navigate through the challenges that our young people are facing every day, right? So these events, unfortunately, are happening more frequently than we would like for them to, but how do we then prioritize our resources and leverage community partners? As Commissioner Bay mentioned, we have a lot of partners that already exist. How do we use them in our schools, but also to support professional learning and development for our teachers, for our staff, for our parents and members of our community? So I appreciate you raising that, but I think it's the right time that we raise it and that we continue to be creative about thoughts. Another thing, as I mentioned earlier, right, we have forums that are coming up with our young people. We can tailor those forums to actually target what is happening in our community as far as violence is concerned, as far as death is concerned, because death impacts all of us differently. But how do we navigate to move forward in a healthy way? And then, Commissioner Bay?
Yeah, one thing I think that we brought forward in that meeting was there's so many good pieces that exist, but the matrix itself of how to bring it together is something that we really have to concentrate on, because with a good piece over here and a good piece over there that doesn't connect, you really don't have the strength that you possibly could. And so I think in that meeting, we did bring forth the need to begin to sew our partnerships together. That opens up the door of community engagement in a totality that is not just you stakeholder over here, you stakeholder over there. You know, we begin to sew it together and create that quilt, that scenario where we're really working together. I think that was brought out of that meeting too.
And thank you for that. And another thing that we that the board is participating in along with the mayor's office. We know that the mayor is also committed to this work. And we're engaging now in the cross-agency work, right, to really target violence in our communities that impacts our young people, but also impacts our communities as a whole. Commissioner Brooks and then Commissioner Esposito.
Yeah, I just wanted to lift a couple of things. So for me, I think when so Commissioner Coy, when you asked the question about what we can do as a board, I think there's several things that we can do, right? So we get to sort of both, one, engage in doing our own work around understanding why social emotional learning, trauma-informed care, and restorative practices are core and central to the academic excellence and the social emotional development of our students. Two, we then get to put that into policy and codify that as a district, that we are a trauma-informed restorative institution and agency. And three, we get to sort of put in place measures of process and progress to ensure that we're actually achieving those goals. So one of the things that came out very clearly, not only in our prior sessions with young people, but then also this last round of sessions with young people, is that young people, when they're brought to the table, they're asked their opinion and then their opinions are not followed through on. And so my question for us is that not only do I want to lift the voices and bring the young people to the table, then what is the district's responsibility in actually implementing those things? And then what as a district, as a body of governance, are we doing to make sure to the degrees possible that the district is actually delivering on the wishes, wants, desires, needs, aspirations of our young people? And I think in the absence of that piece, we end up in a place where we have things on policy, but the practice of those things are not reaching schools and they're not reaching students. And it feels like everything is then, young people's voices are then sort of falling on unreceptive ears. And so I think at least those are three things that we can do as a governing body to ensure, one, that we're prioritizing our young people's safety, not only physical safety, but their social emotional safety as well.
Thank you, Commissioner Brooks. Commissioner Esposito.
Yeah, I definitely want to echo what Commissioner Brooks said about the exhaustion of like young people with like listening sessions. So I would like, personally, I'd like to see us, I don't know if the community forum is the right place to do it, but just having the format set up in a way that we're actually practicing creating healing spaces and creating spaces where we can talk about these things openly. Because even, I mean, yeah, it does feel very reactive. And so in order to be like a little bit more proactive, I also don't think that we've necessarily addressed the trauma that communities have experienced around COVID. So I think it's in our best interest to like intentionally set up, whether it's like at every single school across the system, for them to have like a set meeting time. Like I almost envision it the same way that you would, like, I don't know what, like group therapy sessions almost. Like, I don't know if that's possible. And even us as a board, like for us to participate in those activities, I think would be good.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Any additional comments or thoughts? Commissioner Coy?
Yeah, no, and this does, Commissioner Esposito, I appreciate your comment, and it makes me sort of think out loud, you know, of us on the school board, you know, what are we doing to learn and understand, and what are the trainings even that exist specific for us in our role around things like trauma-informed care, and how are we engaging in that practice, you know, and what should we be doing around those things. So I know there are those among us on the school board that are expert in this, that have, you know, that expertise, and just looking to you all and wanting to learn from you is something that I'll just reflect back in what you're saying.
Thank you.
So thank you for that. I do have one question specifically after hearing public testimony about school safety and just sort of my 4 years on the board, and then sort of knowing that safety has been an ongoing issue in Baltimore City Public Schools since I was going through all of them. And now knowing that we've are sort of still navigating the impacts of COVID-19 and the ways in which that has changed us and changed family structures and community structures and so forth. I'm curious if someone on in the space can talk to us a little bit about sort of how can we as a board right now address the issues of safety, specifically around locked doors in schools. And so I would love to know how much it costs, and then specifically to, is it possible for us as a body to pull from general funds to make sure that all city schools have the locks that are necessary in order to do that? I would love it if anybody could speak to that.
I would appreciate raising that. I also want us to be mindful of the various approaches to school safety, and certainly hearing tonight from members of, some members of the public about doors. I think that's important for us to ask, right, and get some, and Chief Perkins-Cohen is going to do that. What I also hear from our body, right, is a holistic approach to school safety, care, and support. And so I hear that Commissioner, Chief Perkins-Cohen is going to chime in.
Yeah, so I appreciate the concern, and I appreciated hearing from all the teachers who are right to raise a legitimate issue. And this is an issue that we have looked at, and it gets to the way that Baltimore City is not resourced appropriately. I mean, I hate to go back to the Bradford case, but I am going to go back to the Bradford case. And this is exactly representative of why the Bradford decision was, the current one is incorrect, and why we're appealing it. Because what it said is that students really are just entitled to a basic education. This is what a basic education looks like, and it's not acceptable. And we have looked at what it would cost to put locks on every door and to put more cameras in. Probably not anywhere near what the cameras are we should and what you see in other jurisdictions, but more cameras in. And I don't want to quote the price tag here because A, it's a little bit old and I'm not 100% sure I remember it correctly, but we can pull that. Chief Washington did do an analysis and we had that, and the cost is extensive, and it would be an extensive part of the annual amount we get from the state. That is the amount to do all of our buildings. We get $27 million a year to address all the needs in our buildings, and that is extremely far below any industry standard. By industry standard, we should be spending between capital improvements and maintenance about $350 million a year. 27 is the amount we get from the state for the entire district. We get 19 from the city, and then we put some money in for maintenance. So the gap between what we get with those resources, we touch the tiny top of the iceberg of the need with regards to HVAC, roofs, and windows. That's it. We don't get past those. That's all we can do, and we don't even begin to scratch the surface of the need of HVAC, roofs, and windows. And we do those because they're the most important and they're most impactful in terms of students feeling comfortable in their classrooms, which they often don't. And I'm sure our student commissioner can tell you that's probably true, that they don't often feel comfortable in their classrooms. And it is not acceptable. And it is why we have sued the state. And we will continue to sue the state because the resources do not provide the education that is worthy of our students.
Great. Thank you.
Commissioner Brooks, hold on for 1 second. We had Commissioner Bay, and then we can come back to you.
I'm sorry. Yes, in total agreement on that. And then it was made clear to me by a couple of administrators that the money that you would pour into personnel to cover this, would be astronomical in compared to the technology monies that you would put into to let technology do some of that job. The other thing is that you can put the most extensive lock on the barn, right? And as a very close family member of mine always says, locks are not made for thieves. You know, they're made for the honest people to keep them out. In other words, that if we don't change a mentality, you know, if we have to balance this technological approach with this holistic approach, you know, this is a movement of a community, and it's not just, you know, well, this is a solution over here, this is a solution. No, bring them together. And we begin to bring them, get some results. Then you'll see, as you look down the road, long-term results. What has occurred and what is occurring today, yes, it is a result of a pandemic. We've all under some state of PTSD after that, you know, but it's also a result of a long history. And so it's not going to change. Oh, we did that, it's gone. No, it's going to change with incremental growth and consistency in application. We have to look at how we move and whether what we're doing is leading us to the goal or away from it. Yeah, but that's basically all I have to say. Sorry.
Thank you, Commissioner Brooks, and then Commissioner Quinn.
Yeah, I just wanted to sort of just restate my question, which was sort of, Allison, I know that you mentioned that you don't know the number off the top of your head, but maybe if it's possible to hear from Chief Doherty around sort of like, or anybody, like what's the process for allocating general funds from, because we do it for other things, and other emergency spaces and for the adoption of emergency items. What would that process look like for the district to prioritize, develop a system, a scale for our schools around sort of the highest need, and then to reallocate those funds from general funds to actually make sure that each one of those schools in the highest priority categories actually receive doors and additional protocols in space for safety.
Commissioner Brooks, now why are you asking about general funds versus capital funds, capital dollars?
Because we know that we have a big cap for our capital funds. And so if we have been able to supplement monies from our general funds in the past for other specific emergency items, especially during COVID-19, I don't see why we wouldn't be able to allocate additional resources here for our security of our students and families and staff.
So Chief Washington did help me by responding, and it was the number I remembered, but I'm glad I didn't trust my memory because sometimes it's off. But the estimate we got for locks and doors, and this was a few years ago, and costs have gone up considerably, was $20 million to replace our locks and doors. So it's a substantial cost. And I suppose we could consider taking it out of general funds. We should have capital dollars to cover our capital expenses. That's what they're for. And I just spent the day in the General Assembly arguing for a way to count poverty that would accurately reflect the way our poverty, that would reflect the poverty in Baltimore City. It doesn't seem like we're going to get that passed this year, but I will say that that those larger issues that are impacting the way that we are funded are having increasing ripple effects across the blueprint. So it affected the way we are counting poverty for concentrations of poverty this year, and so the resources we receive for that. It impacted the fact that every jurisdiction in the state is getting an increase for Medicaid, for a Medicaid count that's totaling $390 million, and Baltimore City is getting none of that because of the way that we count poverty. We count poverty as a CEP district. We are in a time warp. We're locked into the 2015 rate that we had to count poverty, which was farms forms that do not include Medicaid. So we are not benefiting from that. So the state is about to put in essentially a $400 million investment in poverty that will not benefit for us. So I hear you, we can certainly consider it, but there are a lot of things that our students are not receiving that you would be taking resources from. We make those decisions all the time. We take resources from one place to fund something else, and it is not acceptable. So we can do it again. We could talk about it again this time, but again, we are 80% below the amount we should be getting to address our capital and maintenance needs every single year for the last 40 years. So we can plug a little hole in it. If you want to try to plug it with your finger, we can try it, but it's not addressing the problem.
Yeah, and so I just want to lift in this moment that I understand that we have these larger structural issues and challenges in funding gaps, right? We know that. I think what I'm trying to sort of to just bring to the surface is that we can do something, and it's ultimately a choice that we make, and we make choices all the time to fill holes and gaps that our state and federal folks should be doing for us. But in the absence of those entities and those agencies doing those things, we have a responsibility. And so all I wanted to lift it is a choice that we actually could use general funds to make sure that all of the school districts, all the schools had locks and keys, the necessary locks and the precautions and the protocols put into place. Whether or not we do that, and maybe that's another conversation around sort of when we do that, we pull from one place and so forth. And I know it's not the best use of funds, but if we have general funds and safety is a primary concern for our students and families, I'm just not sure why we're not having that in conversation at this moment. So that's all I wanted to lift.
Thank you, Commissioner Quinn.
Yeah, so I just wanted to respond to that, giving the student's perspective, as was mentioned by Chief Perkins Cohen before. I think that ultimately, as I've talked about with the multitude of security concerns that we've had brought to this board in the past few months, sadly, this is an ongoing problem that we've had to deal with a lot of times, as Commissioner Kenyatta Bay said, that even if we had $20 million sitting around, it would be a hard sell for me to say that I would rather spend those $20 million on locks for doors than on getting textbooks into kids' hands. Because ultimately, what causes the violence is not that there's not enough locks on the doors or that there aren't enough security guards in the schools or enough cameras in the hallway. What causes the violence is that people are in situations that are not befitting of the richest country in the world, the wealthiest country in the world ever to exist, and yet we still cannot find a way to get the basic needs of that respect the dignity of every student in this city and in this country. And that's not an issue that spending $20 million in funds from somewhere else on locks is gonna solve, right? There are broader structural issues that need to be addressed before we can start to throw money at problems that we don't fully understand how to solve, or at least that the solutions that we have are so disparate that there is not a clear way forwards. And so it's not an easy thing to just sort of say like, okay, we have a problem. This is something that a couple people have said, so I guess this is what we're going to go with. And I think that while I would love to sit here and have a thorough debate on crime and punishment with you, I don't think that that's something that we really have the time nor resources to do. And I think that talking about what Commissioner Esposito was saying is that it's a misunderstanding to think of that as a response, but rather as a different way of addressing the violence that is permeated our communities. And like Commissioner McFadden was saying about finding a holistic approach to solving the violence in our communities, it includes things like counseling, things like creating more mental health resources, things like getting more educational resources, higher quality food, more access to healthcare. All of these things contribute to violence, as has been proven by numerous studies about this, and that allocating funds away from that to deal with what we're thinking of as conventional security measures would ultimately do more harm than good, I feel. And I think that this is also what the students of Baltimore City feel.
Thank you, Commissioner Quinn. We're going to wind this conversation down, And so I see Commissioner Coy. I'm gonna give you like 1 point, make 1 point, and let's go home. And then Commissioner, whose hand is up? Esposito, 1 point, and then we're gonna go. Commissioner Coy?
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate it. Chief Perkins Cohen, I think, well, I'm really glad that we had this conversation and we arrived at some of the frustrations that we did. And in looking at the 9 testimonies that we had about concerns around doors and safety, I wonder if there's a way that we can turn some of that energy to, say, helping advocate in Annapolis, because the decisions that are made there are what are having these long, problems here, right? Thinking about how we can all be facing the same direction, and however and whatever we can do to advocate, but we're all in the same, we're all in the same team, and thinking about how we can do that is I guess my last sort of thought that I'd like to leave with.
Thank you, Commissioner Esposito.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Commissioner Kat-Zogby for that comment, because I know we've talked about it in the past in other committee meetings, but I do think it would be really powerful for the school board and just the school system as a whole to be more collaborative when we are talking about like improving the economic conditions of people in communities. Because even with people that I've connected with, I recognize that they are not the type of people that have the means or privilege to show up to these meetings and speak to the barriers of their participation. So yeah, I just wanted to thank him for bringing that up.
Thank you all so much, and thank you for such a rich conversation. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved.
I'll give it to Commissioner McFadden. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Kenyatta Bay. All in favor? Commissioner McFadden?
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks?
Yes.
Commissioner Coy?
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito?
Yes.
Esposito, I'm sorry. Gave your name.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's getting late, my bad. Commissioner Griffin?
Yes.
Commissioner Kat-Zogby?
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay?
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts?
Yes.
Commissioner Sally?
Yeah.
And I am in favor. That motion passes unanimously. Have a wonderful evening and stay safe. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.